Hey everyone, it's Alicia here with Leah.
Hello.
On another mini-sode of the investigation game. So it's 2020, and what we decided this year is we want businesses to start focusing on fraud prevention, detection, and we're going to start discussing case stories about different businesses for the whole month. And so I guess I want to get started by our first question today is, while business owners are wrapping up their 2019 financials, payroll, all that stuff, what are some things they can do to look back and moving forward into 2020 to detect fraud?
Yeah, great question, Alicia.
Okay. Took a break and now I've messed it up. So first we're going to start the timer like we always do in our 10-minute episodes. So if you want to...
Ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Do I have to repeat the question or are we good?
No, we're good.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I think people overcomplicate fraud detection, okay? Money can only be stolen from you on the way into your business and on the way out of your business, okay? So this is super high level, but for a business owner, think about all the ways that your business gets paid. What are all the ways that you collect money? So one way might be you take money through PayPal or ACH or wires or maybe actual cash, like green paper cash. It might be through checks, credit cards, make a list. Then think about what are all the ways that money leaves your business. What do you pay? So number one on the list would be payroll. Number two, the payroll taxes. You can get real granular, but you could look at what are expenses that you pay, monthly expenses you pay. What are, do you pay money for materials? Do you buy assets? Do you buy supplies? Who are the vendors that you're paying? Just make that list of all the ways money leaves your business. Mm-hmm. And then think about, on each of those lists, think about who controls this area of how I either receive cash or how I spend cash. And think about, if they were to steal, what are some opportunities they have that they could steal? Mm-hmm. And don't be freaked out by it, but maybe you need to create some procedures to limit that opportunity. But what I would say, in addition to that, is that you need to think about, if they stole money, would I know it? And so you can set up all kinds of things to prevent fraud. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have a way to trigger that red flag, you can set up all these things. But then if it doesn't tell you that there's a problem, you wouldn't know to go stop it. Like, how are you going to stop the bleeding if you don't even know something's bleeding? That type of thing, right?
Okay.
So that's really high level. Mm-hmm. That's where I think you need to start. Does that make sense?
I think so. Just like figuring out a list of where you're getting money from, where you're spending your money, and then who's deciding where each thing goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so like if somebody does it themselves, they don't really have that big of a concern in that area. But if you have like a bookkeeper, you have to it's almost like a checks and balances.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think people get overwhelmed because they're like, oh, there's like this accounting system, and then there's the bank, and then we got to reconcile this, and like all these accounting finance things. Mm-hmm. Just take a step back and just say, how do I receive money? How do I earn money? How does that money actually make it to my business, in my bank account, business's bank account? And then whenever it leaves, what are the decisions? How do those things leave? And then how am I going to know if something's not quite right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand. That makes sense.
Just like really high level.
Okay, so that's like the first step.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fancy word for this would be a fraud risk assessment.
Oh, okay.
That's a fancy word.
Okay, I'm gonna go assess
yeah, your fraud risk.
Wow.
Go assess it. The ACFE actually has some tools that you can download to do a fraud risk assessment. It's very, very good information. It's very thorough. As a small business owner, I would feel a little overwhelmed by it. Mm-hmm. So instead, I like to think of it the way I just described.
Okay.
Because that's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Big picture. Okay, but then on just a monthly basis, we talked about this with Tiffany Couch. We talked about this with a lot of people probably on the podcast. But you need to look at your bank statement every month. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to add in there that these business owners need to go online, download a PDF of the bank statement, look at the check images, or go through, you can kind of scroll through the activity and like click on checks. Go look at where are these checks actually being paid to, where are the transfers going, but just look at your bank statement.
Mm-hmm.
That would be amazing. Now, the reason I say go online, or you can have the statements mailed to you directly from the bank, is that I had a case a long time ago at the beginning of Workman Forensics where someone was stealing money and they were in charge of all the bank statements, and they actually created fake bank statements.
Oh.
So they downloaded the bank statement, pulled it into something like Adobe Pro, changed the beginning and ending balances, deleted where they stole the money, deleted a deposit, and it looked fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that when I was working the case, I was comparing all these bank statements, and this particular bank has a particular color of red and also puts a 3-hole punch in the side of the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was not hole punched, and the red was just a little off, and the paper felt different. But I was like physically looking at paper.
But how would you even...
And I was like, this doesn't feel right. And so then I went to the president and I said, could you download an actual, get me the actual copy from the bank? And yeah, I mean, it was just a little off. But if I hadn't been looking at every month,
Okay, so...
I mean, because you could tell it had been printed with like a regular office printer or whatever.
Okay.
But I mean, nobody had caught it. But it was just 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
There were only 2 months that were wrong. So just get it. If you get it from the bank yourself, you know whether you altered that or not.
That's true.
So just get it from the bank.
Okay. Wow. I don't even know how you would notice something like that as a business owner. Like, I think that's one thing that would weird
Which
me
is
out.
why just...
It's so subtle.
Yeah, it's so subtle. And if you're not even looking, and then you decide to look one month, you may not even know that it had been, that you were missing money from those 2 months where they changed the banks.
I see.
I think that's actually when the fraud started in that case. And I think that she saw nobody caught it. And so why go to that much trouble to keep the scheme going? So she kind of like fixed it back where the balances started tying. Because your ending balance of 1 month becomes your beginning balance of the next. So she like kind of fixed it back that second month, and then she stopped. That's not how she hid the theft anymore, because nobody caught it.
Huh.
And they didn't catch it for years, like 5 or 6 years.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. Okay, so the other thing that I would recommend is payroll is messy, and often you can't tell if payroll is wrong just by looking at the bank statement. So one of the things that we like to recommend is just at a very high level, graph payroll. Just take the payroll amounts, maybe gross payroll or retirement contributions or withholdings or, you can take any of the metrics, expense reimbursements, anything that's run through payroll, and graph it on a monthly basis, maybe by person, by department, by level, like all your management. And what you're looking for are anomalies. What are things kind of sticking out? And so you kind of have to track this for a little bit. It might show up in your first month, but you also might just need to track it over several months or even a couple years to see, is there anything that sticks out? What is the norm? And then what are these outliers? And then in everything that you're doing, whether you're looking at your bank account or looking at like the graphing of payroll, if you see an anomaly, do not feel weird. You are the business owner. Go ask questions.
Yeah.
Chase it down. Just see. Anyway, so those are my top 2 tips. And so what we want to do in this first month to kind of help get people started doing this is we actually have a graphing tool that is for payroll, and it's really, really simple. So like, don't like.
To me, a graphing tool sounds like
it's gonna be real simple.
Okay.
But it's a macro, and so there's instructions on how to use it. And if anyone wants a copy of this, you just need to tweet us at WForensics with the hashtag payroll-datasleuth, and we will send you a link where you can download this payroll graphing tool.
It's us, and it's for business owners to check their stuff correctly.
Yeah. Yep.
So one thing we're also doing for the month of January that I would like to point out before we run out of time is our New Year's resolution raffle. Oh no!
How did that take 2 minutes? Well,
I mean... Okay, I know this is breaking our rules with the 10 minutes thing, but we're just so excited to tell you guys about this raffle we're doing right now for small business owners. If you make under $1 million in revenue, correct?
Yep.
In 2019, then Workman Forensics will take a year's worth of your financial statements, review them for you, and basically look for weird stuff or like where money's going and stuff like that for free. So if you submit to this raffle and you make under $1 million a year and you're a small business owner, we will do this for free just so you can kind of get the resolution started.
That's right. We want to just point out any anomalies in your data, and we're not going to be able to tell you if you have fraud or not. That's not the purpose of this. The purpose is that we're going to run our data sleuth tests, and we're going to tell you where things look weird so that you can track it down.
Yeah, and that's it. So sorry we broke the rules a little bit, but I think it was worth it.
And to apply,
right.
Go to workmanforensics.com. There's a header that says Be a Data Sleuth. Just hover over that header and you'll see New Year's resolution raffle and enter there.
Yep. This will be 2020 is our year, people. We're not gonna get stolen from this year.
Or this decade.
Or
right?
this decade. In this decade, no. Oh.
The investigation game is brought to you by Workman Forensics. For more information on the business and its services, visit workmanforensics.com. Find us on social media on any social media platform at Workman Forensics. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or topic ideas, please email us at podcast@workmanforensics.com. Thanks for listening.